we just saw the re-election of President Donald Trump. He won with a clear mandate this time, and we see his priority for America in the coming 4 years is focused on reshoring, putting America first, putting tariffs on other economies. In the short term, it seems that he is going to be putting a lot of damage or a lot of pressure on the Chinese export economy. And I know that the Chinese government has already been paying attention to this, and they've already started the dual circulation efforts, where they focus on both exporting to the world, but also strengthening its consumer economy within China. Does Donald Trump's election accelerate the dual track circulation efforts, or will it be status quo for China? And what would the impact be on the global economy if the coming US-China trade tensions?
Donald Trump's isolationist, anti-multilateralist, anti-globalist, desinization kind of policies will push China to do two things. One is to seek more partners, other partners, hence kind of diversifying their trading partners, investment partners in Southeast Asia and Europe and so forth, and also to accelerate the reduction in exposure to the U.S. economy, because there's really no choice. And China has already done both since the first trade war, and will really accelerate that trend. If we look at what Chinese companies are doing, they are radically increasing the pace of outward expansion to other geographies and going global. And if we look at China's internal economy, obviously there has been a lot more emphasis on internal absorption. But also we got to understand that there's a lot of trade rerouting going on. It's not going directly to the US, but indirectly through Mexico and Europe and Vietnam and so forth. And what this has done, this US-China trade war, is to hurt the US and Chinese economies, but to benefit a number of other economies, including not just Vietnam and Mexico, as we all know, but also Thailand, France, and many others, South Korea, who were able to utilize this additional export platform to do more exporting, not just to the US and China, but to the rest of the world. And that is something we see in the data. Now, is this a good thing? Is this a good strategy? No, I think that if I were a US president or a Chinese president, I want the other country to rely more on my country. So there's more levers, right? But what Donald Trump is doing is to push China to rely less on the US and to rely more on other countries. So there will be fewer levers in the future. This is a dynamic problem, right? And so what we have seen, again, also in the data, is that China has seamlessly, at least what the evidence suggests, shifted away the exports to the US to other countries, right? It wasn't that Chinese exports were substantially eroded and competitiveness eroded, actually just sold to other countries, and cheaper levels that the U.S. would have been what are now receiving, because the American consumers are actually having to pay higher prices. So this is not a good strategy, but we all know that it's not economic, it's politics.